Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm getting ready for the day while testing out some new makeup, including the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Skin Finish Buildable Coverage Foundation Stick. I also have this new Bobbi Brown High Barre eyeshadow palette that just came out for the holidays. This is on my eyes. I have some Kevyn Aucoin, Tower 28. So if you would like to hear my thoughts on new beauty as I get ready for the day and create this makeup look, just keep watching. We're starting with eyes today because I have this brand new Bobbi Brown High Barre eyeshadow palette. This is part of their holiday collection. They were very generous. They sent me quite an impressive box filled with a couple of their holiday sets, but this really stood out to me. I think because I didn't really expect it. I haven't seen any photos of this eyeshadow palette on Instagram, the beauty news accounts. So when I opened it up and I saw these shades, I was kind of blown away. This color story is very cohesive, it's very pleasing to the eye, and you have a really nice selection here. A couple mattes, some shimmers, and 3 glittery shades. So it is very beautiful for holiday, but it's also a very wearable palette. So with a fluffy brush, I'm going into this shade right here, and I'm going to buff that in the crease. Even though it does have this one berry tone, it might seem similar to other eyeshadow palettes that have been released. What stands out to me is the versatility of this palette. Because you do have earth tones, you could absolutely wear this every single day, but then you have those glitter shades and you have a really deep shade, which is the one thing that has been missing from some of the other palettes. This seems to be very complete. With a Rephr 13 brush, I'm picking up this matte shadow right here. It's called Sweet Opus. Kind of a deeper version of the shadow we just put in the crease, and this is going to be concentrated in the outer crease, outer V. It's building up really nicely, which was my one concern. It was my one fear about this palette, was that it would just be so light and dusty and I wouldn't get any color payoff, but so far that is not the case. And it has been a while since I've played around with a Bobbi Brown eyeshadow. It's probably been years. I almost talked myself out of it, but we are going to go smoky, so I picked up a flat shader brush, and I'm going into this shimmery shade right here. This is called Speakeasy Sparkle. It's a chrome metal shadow. It looks really beautiful. So I'm going to try it with the flat shader brush, and I'm very carefully applying this to the lid. Ooh, wow, that's really pretty. With my Rephr 13, I'm going back into Sweet Opus, and I'm going to gently blend out the crease. With my flat shader brush, I'm picking up this really pretty sparkly gold right here, and I'm going to pop that in the center of the eyelid. This shadow is pretty creamy as well. Going back with my Rephr 13, I'm picking up the really dark shade. This is Smoky Brown, and I'm going to pop that right in the outer V. I wanted to create a smoky eye or something different because I think this palette is pretty intuitive. It would be very easy to come up with a ton of different soft, very pretty, wearable daytime looks using these colors. I know smoky eyes always look crazy when you just have the top of the eyes done and nothing else. But overall, so far, I love this palette. I love how pigmented these shadows are. Everything has blended really nicely. I think this is going to turn out really nice. And this could become my new go-to palette. I quickly cleaned up my under eye. I had a little fallout, nothing crazy, but that way I'll have a nice crisp edge. And now I'm going to prime my face, and I'm using this Huda Beauty Water Jelly Hydrating Primer. I don't think this is new, but it is new for me. I've never tried this before. And I'm going to use this face build and buff brush that feels so soft. Probably this tapered side. The only thing I have on my face right now is moisturizer. And this jelly primer feels pretty thin. So it's supposed to be hydrating. We'll see. I never really have a problem with hydration, but I do like a primer that fills in fine lines and pores, so hopefully it'll be nice and smoothing as well. It feels a little tacky in a good way. It's gonna grip foundation. It's hard to tell because it's so thin. Whenever you feel it, it's just like water. Anytime I use a stick foundation, I like to make sure my skin is prepped and primed and hydrated. Now I'm gonna go in with the Huda Beauty Toasted Coconut Faux Filter Skin Finish Buildable Coverage Foundation Stick. I am so excited. I was swatching this earlier because I think this shade should work for me. It's 240N. I've never tried any of the Huda Beauty foundations. They sent over 3 shades. I think the other 2 are even darker than this. They're gonna be too dark for me right now. It's not a perfect match, but it'll do. I think it looks a little bit green, but it's a neutral undertone, but it seems to be a little bit more olivey. It's okay. I can make it work. It looks really natural. You can't really see it. I honestly can't. Oh, the brush is starting to come apart on me. That's okay. It's the first time I've used it, so that is to be expected, but I'm losing hairs. It's so beautiful. It's a lot more natural looking than I expected, being that it is a stick foundation. I do like it, and I think it is buildable coverage. I applied a little bit more on this side of my face, and this looks very full coverage. It still looks really pretty on the skin, but I don't see a lot of my natural skin shining through. I went in with just a small amount so far on the forehead. I am going to build it up, but I think it looks really nice on the forehead as well. I think this is probably the prettiest stick foundation. It seems to be buildable just like it says. I like it so far. For concealer, I'm going in with the Pat McGrath Labs. This is a very full coverage concealer. I'm going to blend that out with my Build and Buff brush. The brush is so huge on either side, it's really fast. It kind of does all the work for you. I love this. I can't tell if it's picking up excess product or if it's picking up all of my product, like if it's stealing the concealer. I don't think so. I think it's just picking up the excess product. The brush so far has been the standout. I'm obsessed. To set my concealer, I'm going in with this Huda Beauty Banana Bread Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder. It was so kind of them to send this stuff over because previously I think I had only tried a Huda Beauty eyeshadow palette. Oh my gosh, there's a lot in there. I am not going to bake, but I am going to very lightly dust this underneath my eye. This powder has a very distinct fragrance. Has anybody else used this powder? Do you know what I'm talking about? It doesn't smell like banana bread, it just smells like perfume. But it's so heavy. Heavier than Girl on Meteorites. It's really intense. I don't hate it, I don't mind it, but I know some people will probably be turned off by that. It's shocking, actually, how much fragrance there is in this powder. It almost smells sweet. It smells really beautiful, you just don't expect it. To warm up my complexion, I'm going in with the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude Fusion Powder in the shade 9. This is the perfect bronzing shade. I haven't used this in a while, that's the only reason I picked it out. I don't have a new bronzer here to try. I do have a contour powder, but I'm gonna skip it. I just want to bronze my face. It's a little patchy right in here. But you would only see it if you were looking really close to my face. Nobody's going to be that close. And I think it is almost to be expected, so I'm not upset. The next product I have here to test was sent over from Kevyn Aucoin. It's the Contour Book, Volume 3. I love the idea of this for makeup artists. I think this is really genius. So when you open it up, you have a giant mirror, and you have 3 contour shades. I would probably be maybe the light or the medium. The great thing about the book is you have them all, so you can mix. It comes with this Neo Blush in the shade Venice, and you get 2 highlights, Flash and Beam. It's sort of a funny ombre because it starts really, really pale. It gets almost neon pink, and then it fades into bronze. So you have a lot of different shades here to play around with. The color goes really nicely with the eyes, thankfully. I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out, but I think it's really pretty. Since we have it open, we might as well highlight. I'm going to try the shade Flash. It looks really peachy, so I'm curious to see what it actually looks like on the skin. Wow, I really like it. It's kind of soft, it's not too shimmery. It's so soft and subtle, and yet incredibly flattering at the same time. I think because it has that peachy undertone, it really does look like skin. I picked up a rougher pencil brush, and I'm going back in the Bobbi Brown palette. I'm going to pick up this shade right here. It's the darker of the 2 mattes, and I'm going to buff that underneath the lower lash line. I just wiped off my brush, and now I'm going into this really pretty pale shade right here, and I'm going to pop that on the inner corner. With the Brune Agape waterproof eyeliner from Chanel, I'm going to line the inner rim of the eye. I'm back with mascara. I filled in my eyebrows, and I did my black liquid eyeliner on top. Going back with my little pencil brush and picking up this 3rd shade, I'm going to highlight the brow bone as well. Eyes are now complete. I am so happy with this eye look. And it's not so much the eye look, it's very dramatic, especially since I'm not doing anything. But I'm excited about this eyeshadow palette, I should say. The eye look is great. Every single shade I used today blended beautifully. It showed up. It wasn't dusty at all. It was nothing like the Bobbi Brown eyeshadows of the past that I was kind of used to. So in many ways, it exceeded my expectations. But I think these colors are just really nice. You can do so many pretty looks with this palette. I love everything. The last product I have here to try is this Tower 28 lip gloss. I want to put something underneath, so I just grabbed this Pat McGrath Labs Full Fantasy lipstick. I've been wearing this again lately. This is one of my favorite nudes. It's just a pretty pale pinky nude, but it's perfect for this lip gloss. This is the shade Oat. It's the Shine On Lip Jelly. I've never tried any of these, but they sent over a few shades. I love this lip gloss. It's really pretty. This is just kind of a perfect everyday nude. Throw it in your purse, take it everywhere with you type of gloss. But I think the lip is really nice. It's a bit softer, so it complements the eye. My makeup for the day is now complete. This is the finished makeup look, and I pulled aside all of the new products that we tested for the first time today so I can sort of debrief. Starting with this Huda Beauty primer. This is the water jelly. Very hard to tell since it's the first time I've tried it. I need to use this with a different foundation, and I really want to try this foundation without this primer or even with a different primer. It feels so thin and lightweight, you think you're not applying anything to the skin, like it's not going to have any effect whatsoever. But my foundation ended up looking kind of shiny, and I don't know if that's the foundation or the primer because it's a hydrating primer, so we'll have to see. I do like the way it feels. I liked the way it dried down. It didn't feel overly sticky tacky. It didn't feel thick whatsoever. It's kind of nice. I feel like most people will probably really like this primer simply because it feels really lightweight. And I think it's going to grip the foundation and prevent it from drying out throughout the day. You know, sometimes the foundation looks really beautiful and then a couple hours later, you can sort of see it balling up on the skin, clinging to dry patches. That's a great thing about having a hydrating primer. So I think I like it. Well, I know I like it, but I'm not sure if I like it with this foundation. I'm not sure if that is the ultimate duo. So let's talk about this foundation, the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Buildable Coverage Foundation Stick. I like a stick foundation. There are several that I really like, and I think this one is the best. I think it's the best foundation stick I've ever tried. I don't think this is one of my favorite foundations, full stop. I love a stick foundation for travel, for touch-up throughout the day, and usually I don't touch up throughout the day. But now that we are wearing masks, if you go out to dinner or something like that, and you do have to take your mask off, I think I will probably keep this in my purse going forward, or if I go out to lunch or something like that where you do have to take it off. If you don't have to take it off, it really doesn't matter. Most of the time when I leave my house, if I run some errands and then I come back, I've just left the mask on the entire time. It's only those occasions when you are taking it off to eat or drink that it would be nice to have something like this. So I think for those purposes, I will get a lot of use out of it. I like the shade. It blended really nicely. It seems like powder products, my concealer, everything else I layered on top blended really nicely. I will say it's supposed to be budge proof or transfer resistant, but when I had first applied it, I did sort of touch my face just to feel what my skin felt like, and I saw the fingerprint right in the foundation. So maybe it just has to set a little bit longer. I don't think this is going to be that transfer resistant. I like the coverage. I really like how smooth it looks on the skin. It really does have that faux filter kind of finish. It doesn't seem to be emphasizing fine lines or pores. In this area, it looks so smooth. It does not look like a stick foundation in a good way. It's not settling at all in my little smile lines. And I've had this foundation on for a couple hours. I fixed my hair whenever I got done, and I had to pause the video to jump on a Zoom call. So I've had it on my face for long enough that if it were going to settle, I think it would have started by now. And the last Huda Beauty product I have here is the Banana Bread Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder. I like it. I mean, I have no complaints. It's a very finely milled matte setting powder. I did not bake, but I think it did a really nice job. It got rid of the majority of that shine I was talking about. I can still see a little shine coming through, but for the most part, I think my foundation looks set. No need to touch up. The smell of this powder is so overwhelming. I hadn't heard anything about it, so I didn't have that expectation, but it knocks you off your feet. It is very strong. And I don't still smell it. You know, it dissipates as soon as you apply it to the skin, but it's that application because you're dusting it around your nose. It's very hard to avoid getting a nostril full of the scent. And then we have the Kevyn Aucoin Contour Book Volume 3. I love this. It's such a genius idea to have a little book with all of your complexion powders in here. The only thing it's missing would be a setting powder, but I guess that would be sort of difficult. They'd have to come out with a very medium translucent powder. But I think the blush is really beautiful. I love the sculpting powders. I didn't use them today, but I'm sure I will at some point in the future. I only went in with this flash highlight, but I thought it was really stunning. I love the texture. Hands down, the best product I tried today is this Bobbi Brown High Barre eyeshadow palette for the holidays. I love it. It's so beautiful, and I just checked to see if this was available at Sephora, and it isn't, at least not yet, but there was a nude palette from Bobbi Brown that looks nearly identical. I think it's called the Dramatic Nude Palette, something like that. The colors are almost identical, so I don't really understand that. I love this packaging. I prefer this palette, but I guess if you collect Bobbi Brown or if you already have that Dramatic Nude palette, you could probably skip this. If you don't have that nude palette, I highly recommend this one. The color payoff is incredible. The shadows blended seamlessly. It was just very easy to use. And I love the shades. I love the color story. It's versatile, yet it's wearable. You have a lot of daily wear colors, a lot of one and done, throw it on the lid with your finger type of shades. They gave you this really deep chocolatey brown, so you can do dramatic smoky eyes. You have some glitter, so it's great for holiday, special occasion. Everything about it, obsessed. This is one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes, I think. Of course, I have to keep playing around with it and come up with new interesting looks, but I don't think I'm going to have a problem with this one. Bobbi Brown did an incredible job, and it has been far too long since I've played around with their eyeshadows. Now I'm kind of excited to see what else they have that I don't know about. And I think the price is really reasonable as well for 12 shadows. That completes today's video. Thank you so much for getting ready with me. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing these pieces in action. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Leave me your comments, questions down below. As always, I will be linking everything mentioned, everything on my face down in the description box for your convenience. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.